Hey, how's it going? It's Colin Daniel here from riffninja.com. Come and visit my website and check it out. Give you a few more secrets to playing the guitar while you're there. This is about setting up a guitar for slide and why we do what we do with the slide. This is the Dan Electro that I did a review on in one of my other YouTube videos. And what I've done to this guitar is I've compensated for the action. I've raised the strings on it. There's a few tricks to doing that. You've got to have the neck lined up right. But when you're playing slide, you definitely want the strings a little higher. Too high and it'd be awkward to fret, and too low and you don't get a real nice smooth slide sound. It's got a nice smooth sound. I'm using 11s on here, 11 gauge, standard 11s. And right now it's tuned to D, a D major open, which we will discuss in another one of our lessons. The thing is that you got to have a little bit higher of a action or you won't get a smooth tone out of the guitar. And I would definitely recommend heavier strings. Some players like flat wound strings. They're a little smoother. These are just standard nickel wound. I like to use SIT strings or GHS boomers. I've used those for years. And yeah, the trick with it is to have the action so that it's the string height, so that it's still good when you fret it, and then you can combine the slide parts with the fretted parts, and depending on what style you want to play, that can be very beneficial. So it's finding that sweet spot, and the action is the string height. The string height from the time you press down on the fret, or just from the underneath the string, should I say, right to the top of the fret, and that's how you measure your action. As you can see on this guitar, it's a little bit higher. I don't know if you can see that, but it's higher. You can tell by using the edge of the fingerboard as your straight edge reference, okay? So it is a little higher, and it does have heavier strings on it. This guitar, again, was particularly in mind set up just for the slide. It certainly can handle it really well. 11s work good on this guitar, standard gauge 11. I didn't have to do any modifications to the nut or to the saddles, just had to readjust things. So hopefully that informs you. And the next thing is your slide. And I like to use a big fat glass slide, and I use it on my bad finger, the second finger, the big finger. And the reason why I do that is because the first finger here is used to mute so that my strings don't rattle, because without the mute, as opposed, you hear the difference in the sound right away. That's a bit buzzy, a bit ringy, and this isn't. It's smoother, so you use the first finger to mute. I also like the first finger clear because I like to do little shuffle patterns and interval things and partial chords, and so that frees up. And then if I have to move it up, then I have the third finger and the first finger's in between. Sonny Landreth, the very famous slide player, uses his third finger, and he actually frets in behind it. I don't play that style. I usually just play a straight slide, but just gives you an idea of what to do with a slide. There are many materials for slide. They use all kinds of strange materials, including old medicine bottles that they cut with a glass cutter, old wine bottles that have the right size tube on it. The main thing I think is, for me, because I got such big knuckles, I'm using this Gin Dunlop. It's about the biggest, thickest slide you can get. I don't like the metal slides very much. A lot of guys like them. They use chrome pipe. They use brass pipe. Some of them have brass rings and they just use the ring as a slide. Of course, depending on the width of your slide, depending on the width of it. It would depend on whether you could reach all the strings or whether you want to, depending on, again, your style. You may want to leave your guitar in standard tuning and just play with what they call a pinky slide. I don't have one of those on me right now. I use the large, thick, heavy Dunlop slide the most. Yeah, so there's lots of material. Some guys I've heard they play with knives, like pocket knives. They use slide with that. Bic lighters, you know. I never got a really good tone out of any of that stuff. The best tone I get is out of the glass, like I said, but you'll have to discover that for yourself because it's a real personal preference thing. So, hopefully this has been super informative and it kind of gets you kicked in so you can get prepared for some slip slide and guitar, some blues guitar, and we'll see you pretty quick here on the next lesson on riffninja.com. This is Colin Daniel. Peace out. We'll talk to you later.